cancer on our way to Springfield. Make sure you support the cause, support the movement.
A South suburban politician spends taxpayer dollars on a march to Springfield to promote her personal charity. But when we started asking questions, the party's over. Fox 32's Dane Placco investigates where all that money is going.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing.
Tiffany Henyard certainly isn't shy about attracting attention. Here she is starting a Dolton Village board meeting dressed like the Wesley Snipes character in the movie New Jack City, later punctuating her political points with the help of her own DJ.
Every single resident. Pay me what you owe me. Thank you, DJ.
Henyard's picture and name adorn virtually every public posting, both from Dolton, where as mayor she makes $46,000 a year, and in Thornton Township, where as the elected supervisor she collects more than $200,000 a year. But for all that money, Henyard's tenure at both has been chaotic, with firings, scandals, and a legal battle with the Dolton trustees over spending. So last fall, Henyard did something that would seemingly generate some good publicity, helping establish the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation to help breast cancer patients. And on the very day the charity was chartered, it received a huge donation, $10,000, from the Thornton Township Board, which Henyard presides over.
Taxpayer money shouldn't be paid into those types of things.
All right, guys, so you know how we talk about Joe Biden and the fact that he is president of the United States, despite the fact that he clearly, cognitively should not be president of the United States. He is struggling with old age. Well, the election of somebody like Joe Biden simply is a reflection of the population, right? The fact that the United States has somebody like Joe Biden, who's clearly not mentally or physically capable of being president, getting elected to lead the country is a reflection of the population. It says more about the country than it says about him, okay? And you can apply that same line of logic and reasoning to this story right here that we're going to talk about, okay? Involving Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who we have talked about before. Last time we checked in on her, we talked about a story involving this woman taking taxpayer-funded trips, or allegedly taking taxpayer-funded trips to Las Vegas. And when she gets confronted about these taxpayer-funded trips to Las Vegas, this is what she had to say.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Now, this city girl mayor has went viral on the internet for multiple reasons, right? Mainly because she is overtly corrupt. I mean, she's been accused of being a bully, including weaponizing the police to go after citizens who speak out against her. She's been accused of locking city officials out of their offices after they get into a dispute with her. She's been accused of hiring sex offenders. She's been accused of mismanaging the city's finances, basically redirecting tax dollars into her own charities for her own personal benefit, overspending on security, something that basically amounts to financial fraud against taxpayers, right? And I think that everybody can agree that it is important to fight against financial fraud, and most importantly, to protect yourself from financial fraud, which is why the sponsor of this video is Aura. Guys, so I gotta tell you about something crazy that I used to do to freak out my friends, which is just to Google their names, okay? I would Google their names, and then I would see how much information I could find on them online and then send it to them. Not only were my friends shocked, but I was also shocked about how much information I could find about my friends online, including their full names, their phone numbers, their email addresses, their physical addresses, their family members, and much more. A lot of information that, quite honestly, is very uncomfortable to know is readily online to find for anybody looking for information about you. And this is because you have data brokers who are making a killing selling your data, your personal information to scammers, robocallers, and anybody who's willing to pay for that information. And this is why I'm excited to tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, Aura. Aura is an online security and data protection suite, all-in-one solution to help keep you and your family members protected online. Like, for example, Aura can identify data brokers exposing your info online and submit opt-out requests to have your data removed from their website. Now, if a request is made, data brokers are legally required to remove it. However, they try to make it as hard as possible to do so. But don't worry, with Aura, they make it easy if you just allow them to handle everything. Honestly, guys, I was impressed the first time I logged into Aura to see that they had already identified some threats that I was exposed to, and they cleared it up immediately. Now, remember, Aura is an all-in-one security suite. It includes a parental control system, VPN, password management, identity theft protection, and much more. And the best part about it is that it's all included for one affordable price. Everything in one. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you and your family safe online so that you can do other tasks with peace of mind. You can either let people continue to exploit and profit off of your personal information, or you can go to aura.com/BCP to start your 2-week trial for free. Also, the link is in the description below. So don't wait. Go ahead and sign up to protect you and your family and your information online at aura.com/BCP.
But would you advise one of your candidates to do something like that using taxpayer funds?
No, not using taxpayer funds.
Okay, so if you've driven one of the expressways in the south suburbs recently, you've no doubt seen one of these giant billboards. They feature the name and the face of a smiling local politician. What you may not know is the money for these billboards is coming out of taxpayers' pockets, and that's raising questions for Tiffany Henyard, the Dolton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor, who has already come under fire for spending public money promoting herself.
Dane Placco has the latest chapter in his ongoing investigation into Henyard's questionable spending.
Take a drive to the south suburbs and you can't miss them. 4 giant billboards featuring Tiffany Henyard's name in large letters, along with her picture, smiling down on the thousands of cars going by on Interstate 57 and the Bishop Ford Expressway. What are they advertising? One says fresh produce, another senior services, and this one simply says we offer general assistance.
Guys, think about how much of a narcissist you have to be to put your name on literally every billboard in town, right? If you want groceries, make sure that you know that Tiffany A. Henyard is the mayor, right? That she's responsible for the fact that you can go and buy food. Again, this is why, people always ask me, are you going to get into politics? Are you going to get into politics? You're going to run for office? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just not that narcissistic, right? And I feel like you got to be a psychopath to engage in these types of behaviors, right? I'm not all about self-promotion, right? I'm not the type of person to throw my name and my face on everything, okay? I'm just not that type of person. And I'm not necessarily saying that by definition is a bad thing. Sometimes it's necessary. But again, this is a whole new level of narcissism here from this woman, okay? I mean, she's putting her name on everything. And again, the worst part about it is that she's using taxpayer funds to basically promote herself, okay, in unethical ways. Now, here's the problem. This woman was recalled, okay, successfully recalled by citizens. However, she challenged it in court and she won. So now they're actually stuck with her. Okay, so they're stuck with her. Now, why did she get elected in the first place, despite the fact that there was a lot of evidence to suggest that this woman was not qualified for the job? Well, it's because she's black and, she has a vagina, right? Allegedly, okay? This is why people vote for certain candidates nowadays. And what did they get, right? This is what you got in return, okay? When she was first elected, people were celebrating, saying, oh, this is historic. We have the first black woman to be mayor of this city, right? It's been run by white men for so long, okay? The towns are majority black. It is not right for a white man to be the mayor. And this is what you get when you vote and you think like that. When you vote based off identity politics or purely based off identity politics, this is the result. I mean, look, this is near Chicago. Look at who they voted for out in Chicago. They voted for Brandon Johnson. Look what they got. An absolute disaster, okay? Again, identity politics is backfiring across the board when it comes to some of these Democrats and how they vote. It's fascinating stuff.
There's a phone number, but you wouldn't know what it's for unless you can read in teeny tiny letters, Thornton Township Supervisor, as you're speeding by. These are the billboards that have gone up along the expressways. We showed the billboards to Bert Odelson, an election attorney who's been working in Illinois politics for 50 years.
When I first looked at it, I thought, what is she running for now? Because that's what it shouts out.
Odelson, who represents a political faction opposed to Henyard and Dolton, says it's clear the billboards are promoting more than township services. He says they're essentially campaign ads.
They are. They are campaign ads. They're campaign ads funded by taxpayer dollars after the taxpayers voted to recall her, right, to remove her. She turns around and then uses the money to basically promote herself in her reelection. Amazing stuff.
This is a blatant attempt to promote herself politically. The township should not have paid for these if they did, and I'm sure they did.
They did indeed. Bills obtained by Fox 32 under open records laws shows Thornton Township paid more than $10,000 for the vinyl signs themselves and more than $12,000 to Clear Channel Outdoor Advertising for 1 month's rental of the billboards. What was your reaction when you saw it?
Well, first of all, I didn't know anything about them.
Thornton Township trustee Chris Gonzalez says the board was never consulted about the billboards, which he says needed their approval.
Kind of some of the first things that popped in my mind is, what are we doing? This isn't a big sale. We're not selling cars here. I mean, if it's informational, then it should be informational. I mean, there's so many other ways we could have spent that money. That would have, directly helped people.
This isn't the first time Henyard has used taxpayer dollars to burnish her own personal image. In fact, on other occasions, she spent a lot more.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Earlier this year, Fox 32 showed you how Henyard spent tens of thousands of dollars using employees and vehicles from the township and from Dolton, where she also serves as mayor, for a week-long walk to Springfield to promote her self-named cancer charity, which is yet to file required reporting. And you can't turn your head in Dolton or Thornton Township without seeing Henyard's picture or name. It's on all the government-owned vehicles, buildings, even on the rugs in the township, where we found a Tiffany Henyard 2024 calendar featuring all the important dates to remember, including her birthday.
Wow. Again, what you're seeing here is a reflection of culture, specifically the culture of the black community, right? This level of narcissism in city girl behavior, because that's what it is, city girl behavior, is exactly a reflection of black culture, right? All the behaviors that this mayor displays are the same type of behaviors that are celebrated in this country, that people who happen to be of color, women of color, this is what they participate in, right? Self-promotion, self-aggrandizement, okay? No accountability, no responsibility whatsoever, right? And yeah, she's basically running her city like a city girl, okay? Like soul sister number one. And it was clear and obvious that this is who she was, but yet people voted for her anyways. They voted for it anyways. And now she's taking all their money and she's using it to enrich herself. I mean, she's essentially become the dictator of the town. Amazing.
Would be having a fit if she was my client, telling her not to do this.
Veteran Chicago political consultant Delmarie Cobb says there would be nothing wrong if Henyard were using her own political funds for those promotional materials, especially the billboards.
Oh, I'm sure she's having trouble raising money, right? I'm sure she's having trouble raising money, so she's going to use the taxpayer money instead. And guess what? You ain't going to do a damn thing about it, right? Nobody's going to do a damn thing about it. And that's the problem here. You have this type of overt corruption running rampant, and there's no way to get rid of this person. There's no way to get them up out of office. She's essentially just taking over this town. Again, I would be very weary of the elections, right? If I'm the citizens, I would have a lot of questions about this election coming up if she wins, right? If she wins, there's no way anybody could believe that the outcome was actually legitimate. Okay, considering her history of how she runs this town and how she runs these operations.
I actually had a candidate years ago who was running for mayor of Dolton, and that's what we did. We bought billboards along the expressway, because if you're coming and going home all day, and one of the things I always say about billboards is they're working when you're asleep.
In 2011, state lawmakers passed a law banning the practice of politicians putting their names on publicly funded signs, spurred by these tollway signs featuring former Governor Rod Blagojevich. That law does not extend to mayors or other elected officials, but election attorney Odelson believes the billboards do violate state election laws.
It's a crime. Yeah, you're using public funds for something that taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used for.
And just when you think you've seen it all, take a look at this. When the first billboard went up last summer, Thornton was misspelled as Thornton. Another sign had to be ordered, apparently at taxpayer expense. Dane Placco, Fox 32, Chicago.
So far, Henyard has not responded to any of our questions about the billboards. And tomorrow, Dane has another Henyard investigation. This time, he exposes a new law that cuts the salary of the Thornton Township supervisor by $200,000, but only takes effect if someone else gets her job. A political poison pill tomorrow at 9.
The corruption is so overt and in your face. I don't understand why this is not a national news story. Okay, now, don't get me wrong. Shout out to Fox 32. Okay, they get a gold star, right? Because they've been covering the hell out of this story. They have been covering this story. They've been investigating. They've been exposing this woman. This needs to be a national level story, because this type of overt corruption in our politics, even if it's at the town level, and again, this is not a small town. This is in Chicago's south suburbs. You have a community of people of color getting ripped off by their diversity hire mayor, and the liberal media is silent, right? They're silent. They ain't got nothing to say about it. Again, it's amazing how that works. But they want to boo-hoo, whine, and cry all day about the threat to democracy that Trump is and how he might become a dictator. When you got Democrat dictators, not just in the White House, but also at the local level. She's a dictator. Silence, though, right? Silence. Ain't got nothing to say about it, even though, again, this story right here is mind-blowing. The corruption. But, hey, this is how politics works. When you have the appropriate amount of infinity stones of wokeness, the media just kind of overlooks this stuff. They don't want to talk about it. Don't fit the narrative, right? That might go against the agenda to, elect these narcissistic diversity hires into office, okay, who, are Democrats, they're progressives, right? It'll go against the agenda. So, again, they don't want to talk about it. They want to cover it up. They sweep it under the rug. But these people are suffering, man. However, I only can feel so bad for them because, again, this woman should not have been voted into office in the first place. Just like Brandon Johnson should not have been voted into office in the first place. But you get what you vote for. When you vote based off skin color, gender, race, off of all these things that have nothing to do with real qualifications, of course, this is what you're going to end up with. This is what happens, right? So, again, I only can feel so bad for these people because this is what they voted for. This is what they signed up for. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.